You improve your imagination as an adult and you use your imagination as a child.
U mnogim zemljama u svetu održiva arhitektura je kao način projektovanja i gradnje već postala trend, dok je u najnaprednijim društvima uveliko standard. U pitanju je promovisanje načina i modela ekološkog projektovanja i seeding ideje obnovljive i energetski efikasne gradnje. Moderator radionice bila je organizacija Ambasadori životne sredine, a ceo događaj je omogućen donacijom holandske ambasade. Dizajn tržnih centara izrastao je u jednu od najdinamičnijih i najinteresantnijih sfera arhitekture. Osvetljenje igra ključnu ulogu u ovim projektima. Radionicu je moderirao svetski superstar osvetljenja iz Istanbula, Zeki Kadirbeoglu, koji je osnivač i vlasnik ZKLD studija za dizajn osvetljenja. Galit Kaon je kreativni direktor dizajn muzeja u Holonu, gradu u blizini Tel Aviva. Osnivanje dizajn muzeja u Holonu vrhunac je procesa transformacije ovog grada u centar kulture i obrazovanja.
We're going to talk about Design Museum. It's the first one in Holland. And can you start with architecture? Because you show me, please, you show me here the process and tell me about it.
Okay. The Design Museum was opened in January. It's a very new museum. We just had our first exhibition. The building, which is so unique, was designed by Professor Ron Arad, who lives in London. And he created a wonderful building that has, it's a combination of two great things. One is the inspiration of the architect, which you can see here in the red ribbon. And it surrounds the building, and it gives you such a wonderful spirit when you enter the building. And then there's a tension between the exterior and the interior in the museum. Because as curators, we usually like very wide galleries for the objects. You need no interference. But the outside could be a wonderful celebration. So you have a wonderful building, and it's like a big jewel. And the inside is very quiet. It's very white.
Hey, shop.
It is. So, as we are a design museum, the museum is part of our collection, but it's the biggest object we have in the collection.
And the city of Holland became the city of design and culture, old city. How?
Well, we have a wonderful mayor for the last 14 years. And he actually, when you interview him usually, the first sentence that he says, that a city with no culture is a city with no soul. And a city with no soul is a dead city. You shouldn't be there. So he invests all the money that he can in culture. So for the last 10 years, Holland opened 8 new museums. And it's all public money. Also this museum, of course, is public money. And he invests in culture. All the children in Holland are going to the museums regularly. And they're paid by the municipality to go to museums. So we are all working together to create a new society. And those kids are really different because they know museums. They use museums. They're coming in the afternoon to see exhibitions. And you see them, it's wonderful.
Tell me about the specific language of yours. I like that story, so can you repeat me, please?
We speak Hebrew, we speak English, you speak Serbian. Other people speak different languages. But us as designer, we speak the language of design. And the language of design is not the same anywhere. But when you see 3 or 4 designers get together, and they start to talk about forms and ideas, and they start sketching, they have their own language. And when we do a design museum, we would like to make other people talk design. So we invite people into the museum to learn the design language, so they can talk with us designers and understand what we're doing, and maybe use design better. Because we have a feeling, even though in Israel, design is very common. People know design and so on and so on. But actually they don't. They know style. They can understand if something is very designed, but they do not use design. So when they're going to buy a new bag for their child to school, they're looking at brands, they're looking at color, but they're not looking at design. And what we're teaching people and children is to make a good choice. Because when you make a good choice, you use less objects, but you use them longer. It's more ecological. It's better for your life, because you know what's best and what fits you.
Kes Donkers dolazi na ovogodišnju Beogradsku nedelju dizajna kao odbornik gradskog veća holandskog grada Eindhovena i jedan od osnivača spektakularne holandske nedelje dizajna, projekta Smalhaven i brojnih drugih uspešnih aktivnosti koje su pomogle promeni Eindhovena od spomenika industrijskog doba do dinamičnog grada.
I came here on Saturday night, and I learned a lot about Belgrade because there was another festival. I went there, it was great, but the day after I had a cultural program. I went to the fortress, and in the evening we had a beautiful dinner and talked with the young generation of Belgrade. They were on the table and we had a lot of discussions, but I learned a lot about the identity of Belgrade because I asked them which are the 5 most important issues in your identity, your DNA. And I learned a lot in discussing that 5 aspects. I learned a lot about Belgrade.
What is the most important to give here to young people from your lessons?
What I was able to tell them, I think, is that they are the steering wheel from the new generation, let's say, for the future of the city. And if they want to start their own company, for instance, after their study, they should do so. And I could give them examples of the young generation in my city and how they are working. And they became enthusiastic about my examples, and I presented them here too. And I found out that I can give them, I call it positive vibes for their future.
You are co-founder of Design Week.
Well, I shouldn't call it co-founder. I did something. I started up in '91, a thing called Q Cafe. It's 7 years long. I did that program in an old, it was a foreign cinema, but it was closed down, and we make a new theater in it, and it was nearby where I live. And I started up a program. Yeah, it's close to my front door. Okay. But I started up a program to discuss what was happening in the city, an architectural discussion, urban design discussion, urban discussion, let's say. I invited people, the necktie people, let's say, the building companies, people from the city hall, but also the T-shirts, the creative people, and they were both there, and they came there. It was every time it was full house. And we discussed the themes in the city that were important at that time. So I found out that if you have a public debate about what's happening in the city, you can create an atmosphere in which it's possible to get steps in a change. If you don't do that, it's too closed. The city hall is closed, the people of the city are closed, let's say, but you can reach them if you can bring them in contact and create an atmosphere of dialogue. That can be a solution.